Okay, so right now we are moving to part with our fingers and the part of our hand, and in this part we will be also creating our glove. So I have this part of the skin on one finger, and I'm duplicating it right now on every finger of our hand. And this skin, as you see, is a little bit dirty. It's not very clean, so this is what we want to. We want this hand to feel a little bit dirty. So I took this skin just from a simple photograph of the hand, just simple image of a hand, and I've just put it here. Of course, as you see, it's not really photorealistic. We just want to have a piece of skin on these fingers and paint some important things like our fingernails. We will be doing them pretty soon, but just right now we have to just fix a little bit the skin. And let's preview how it looks. And you see it looks good enough, I think. So a little bit repositioning these little wrinkles that we've got. They are not really defined, but they leave just a cool effect. So this is the hand I've found to take a piece of our skin, and right now I'm looking on fingernails, and we will be trying to make similar fingernails. I'm not taking them from just this picture because it's just easier to make them. It's just easy to make them in Photoshop rather than taking from the image. Our will be more, it's just easier. Our fingernails will be set up right and have a good color. So we just don't have to worry about editing this picture. And as you see, I've opened our normal map and use Xnormal to create an ambient occlusion. And you see I need just this part with some shadowing around our fingernails. So I will cut this part off and of course set it on multiply, and we delayed the rest of the ambient. So right now we've got some more shadows around our fingernails, and this way they will be more defined and we will see them more clearly. So I have my normal map on, and I'm just selecting a part with this fingernail, and I'm just putting on the separate layer a color that will be representing our fingernail. So I'm trying to use stamp tool to match this shape a little bit better. And as you see, our fingernail is a lot cleaner than the rest of the skin. So we have to change the color a little bit. And I would like to see a preview in Maya. So not much to see, except we've got this fingernail a little bit visible on this middle finger. So we've put some shadows on it. We will be adding some white spots on this, and then we will just have to repeat this process on each fingernail. Yeah, so we are cleaning up this finger again. Okay, and right now we just have to select a front part of this fingernail and make it a little bit white. So we select this little ring and make it white too. And the last thing, we have to put around this fingernail a little bit some highlight to make it separate a little bit from the rest of the finger, and replace and duplicate, this process on each fingernail to have all fingers with nails. So you see right now, final version. I have duplicated this on our thumb and on the rest of our fingers. We've got also some skin on our forearm, just a basic skin that I've took from these photos, and I've cleaned it a little bit, so nothing fancy was done there and nothing to show, I think. Very simple process, and now you see all fingernails and the skin on our forearm. So that was pretty simple, I think. And now we are moving to part with our gloves. So I found on CG Textures this picture of leather, and we will be changing color of this leather and playing with it and we will put it on this glove. So we have to just cover this place. So now quick preview of what we've got already. I think it's good enough, and will be continuing just using our standard technique, creating separate layer and setting up blending mode to screen, and we will be painting our folds and places with some scratches. Yeah, so I've just scaled down this texture because I thought that these little details are too big, so I scaled down our texture. So now I think it's good enough to start adding our details. Of course I could do this later, but because it's on a separate layer and our folds will be on separate, but I've done this already. So I've added, of course, another layer with some dirt to support our scratches and wrinkles that we will be painting. So to have this gloves a little bit destroyed, I've added just some dirt and set it on the overlay mode. And this layer we are starting just our wrinkles, so separate layer screen mode, and we are doing our scratches and little highlights. So the most scratches and distracted parts we will be having, I think, close to the fingers. So we've got already some highlights there. And as you see on the normal map, we mainly have a lot of wrinkles on this glove, so we have a lot of work to do. So I have normal map on, just to help me see where our folds are. And also we will be putting some shadows on separate layer, because I think it was needed to support some areas with darker places. So we've got lighter highlights on this layer, and we will be having some shadows added on the separate next layer. So a quick preview. It doesn't look good right now. I think we've got a lot of work to do. Lots of work to do, I think. So I had to tune down a little bit some parts and make other more visible. So with this kind of work you have to be a really good painter, I think. So right now I've created another layer to make one big highlight, I think, something like this. I set this on screen layer to have just this middle part of the gloves a little bit whiter, a little bit more, whiter, I think, lighter. So right now I'm just adding shadows on the multiply layer, painting with black. So I think already it looks a little bit better with some shadowing. This wrinkles looks better. So quick preview in Maya, what we've got, and then redefine some shapes a little bit more. And I think it looks pretty cool already. The upper part around his wrist need some work because we didn't add highlights there. There will be a separate another texture, so we will work on this a little bit. So I've added right now more distraction to this area around fingers. And defining a little bit more these highlights, scratches. So right now I'm doing this part around his wrist. I've put there another texture because I wanted to make it. I wanted to feel that this is a little bit different material. It still will be similar really, but it's a little bit different. And we will put also some highlights on it, like for this part before. So right now I'm trying to match this color. It will be a little bit darker than the rest of the glove. So now you see it on the hand. It works fine, I think. So I will add some highlights to it. So I have selected layer with my highlights, and we will be adding some more to this part. So you see in this process of texturing, I don't use any fancy tricks or any fancy skills. Maybe these textures are just simple but I think any texture you can create this way. You can create metal, leather, skin, just putting a base texture on the lower layer, and on the upper layers you just add some highlights, shadowing, and some scratches, dirt, whatever you want. And if you do it correctly, your texture should look decent. There are no special tricks, I think. You can see this also in Maya and Zbrush, and also in Photoshop, white texturing process. But I don't use really too much tools in these programs. I just use basic stuff, and the rest of the tools are just used just not often. So I think all processes I try to make them more simple, or as simple as it's possible. So some changes to this highlight on this upper part of the glove, and we still have the part with inside of the hand to do, but I will not be showing you because it's the same process, so it will be too boring. So I will show you pretty soon a final version of our glove with both sides done this way. So sometimes it's hard in Maya because after turning on high quality mode everything gets darker, but I think we just have to deal with it. And right now you see our inside part of the hand is done. It looks good enough, I think. So I think that's it. See you in next movie.